So we brought Russ Ramsland back into the economic war room. He's an election expert, and he's about to tell us exactly what happened in the 2019 election. Welcome, Russ.
Kevin, it's delightful to be back. You know, you've always been out in front of this issue, and so it's always a pleasure to be here.
Tell us what happened.
Well, there have been some interesting things since you and I had a chance to hear from Jekyll. I think the place to start what happened is to look across the ocean at Switzerland.
Okay.
In Switzerland, here's a couple of articles. There's been a whole lot written that has begun to confirm exactly what Jekyll told us. This were a couple of articles about what happened in Switzerland. One from Motherboard entitled "Researchers Find Critical Backdoor in Swiss Online Voting System," and a quote from it that basically says there's a critical flaw in the code that would allow someone to alter votes without detection. That's exactly what Jekyll told us.
That's frightening. Alter votes without detection. Okay,
Yep.
And that's from Vice.
Yep, and this is from MIT Technology Review. A major flaw has been found in Switzerland's online voting system. They're talking about Seidel, who is the company that would count votes over there. And we'll talk about Seidel because it's a very interesting and somewhat disturbing company. But apparently Seidel is a group it's a Barcelona-based company, and it's run by people who are very close to George Soros. And they're actually major vote counters in the United States and elsewhere around the world.
Tied to George Soros, and they are doing election operations in the United States, it says.
Yep, in fact, we're going to get right into them here. I want to make 3 points that we're going to talk about because we've been talking to this group called Americans for Election Integrity, and this is a citizens group that formed itself in Kentucky as a result of the 2019 election, and that's what we're going to talk about.
That was Governor Bevin's race.
Correct.
And he narrowly lost according to the press reports.
Even about 5,000 votes, even as every other Republican who was running for office won by 300,000 plus votes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Big difference. Unusual. Okay.
Very unusual. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is this whole idea that the U.S. voting system is air-gapped.
That's what we assume. Everybody tells us it's not even connected to the internet, it's air-gapped, so you don't have to worry about there's no manipulation that can take place.
Right.
But that's not true.
No, that's a total fiction. In fact, the best it gets, Kevin, is if your cameraman sends me an email that says, "Russ, you need to vote on Seabiscuit in the third race," and I write it on a piece of paper and hand it to you, and you do it.
So there's a human filling in that gap.
Correct.
Okay.
The point is, you could claim you're air gap, but you're really not. You're really online.
So if there was somebody there managing the computer and they got someone contacting them, they can still adjust it. Doesn't matter if the computer's not hooked to the internet. There's a person connected to the internet making the connection.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And that's as good as it gets. A lot of them are actually directly connected. Politicians don't know it. Secretaries of state don't know it. AGs don't know it. And worse than that, we found a lot of them are trying to run away and hide from it. Texas, we've tried to talk to Texas about it quite a bit. They're just running away from it. But in Kentucky, Matt Bevin decided he wanted to understand what happened. And so these Americans for Election Integrity group took on the challenge, and they've been telling me some really interesting stuff.
So Seidel's here, I can see it.
Yes, Seidel is actually in the Kentucky elections, and let's talk about that so you can understand what that is. Right here is a screenshot of supposedly the Kentucky State Board of Elections. Right here.
Okay.
See?
Yep.
When you go and drill down into the unofficial results, and the reason that you have to use unofficial is that they won't post the official for a while yet, it takes you right here. Clarity Elections.
Now Clarity's connected to Seidel?
Clarity is connected to Seidel because if you scroll down to the bottom of the Clarity page, Seidel USA.
So it is Seidel right there.
Exactly. So any claim that this thing is not connected is completely and totally wrong.
Okay, so Seidel, who we know is vulnerable according to the Swiss studies reported by MIT and Vice and others, is the one that ran this election in Kentucky, And we know from press reports that you can change votes wholesale if you have that system in place.
Correct. The two voting companies that are most predominant in Kentucky are Hard InterCivic and ES&S, and both of them upload the votes to Clarity Elections, which is Seidel.
And Seidel, according to press reports, has connections with George Soros.
Absolutely. First thing I'm going to show you is one of the people out there happened to catch this video.
Okay, this is a screenshot or a video that you took from CNN, because there's CNN in the corner. This is on election night. They're reporting results.
Yes, this is late in the evening, and I want you to note a couple of things. In fact, if at home you want to write these down, Andy Beshear, the challenger, has 673,948 votes at this point, and Matt Bevin has 662,235.
So it's 11,000 votes approximately separating them, 95% in.
Right. Now, let's watch something here, and I'm going to try to catch it. I may have to rewind it.
Okay.
Keep your eyes on this screen because you're going to see these numbers get updated. They won't have it'll take another second before these get updated to match these.
But right now, this number matches that, this number matches that.
Right. This is the live feed coming in from the computers.
Okay, it's running. There, it just changed.
There it just changed. All right, let me see if I can pull
Scroll
it
back to that.
To that point. I got
Wow, I just saw it.
Yep. Now
662 there. They
661.
updated it.
They update it right there.
From 662 to he lost
560 votes.
Exactly 560.
Now
yes.
look at Beshear. 673 before.
Wait, that's also that's exactly the same difference.
It's exactly the same difference.
They took votes from here and put it there.
Well, it certainly suggests that, doesn't it?
Well, they did. No, it doesn't just suggest it. At least in the reporting, they reported one number and then they adjusted the reporting by that many votes from Bevin to Beshear.
Certainly
it just
looks
changed,
like it.
just like
in
that.
an instant.
In an instant, live while
Right.
you're.
Now, the only way you're going to really know what went on is if these people can get the computer logs. If they can get the computer
Well, that
logs,
should be easy.
well, you'd be surprised. They'll
Why why wouldn't they just rule? Well, never mind. If you're in control, I get it. All right.
Okay.
So that's an important point. You saw it happen. That's election fraud potentially. What's the next thing?
Potentially. All right. This came from Jefferson County, Kentucky.
Okay.
These are their official results, and these are two different reports that come out in the same report, but they're both very, very long. And I just took one particular precinct to illustrate the point. Precinct 1C148 in Jefferson County. Now in this one, we're talking about straight party voting, and this is too, but this is in the section exclusively governor, lieutenant governor.
So this is a subset of this.
Correct.
Okay.
And this is straight party. Now watch this because it gets very interesting. There were 8 undervotes. In other words, 8 places that people didn't vote in this. We have the Democrat, who is Beshear. We have the Republican, who is Bevin. And now we're going to look down in this section of the report. They were both printed at the exact same time, November 8, 2019, 2:46 p.m., same thing right there.
Okay.
Okay? Now, watch what happens. These 8 undervotes disappear in this report. There's no undervotes now. And in fact, this has gone up a total of 9 votes. Where did they come from?
Well, there's 8, but that's not 9.
Nope. But when you notice that Matt Bevin goes from 5 to 4, that's the extra vote. And now you come up with 17 votes for Beshear and only 4 votes for Bevin.
In this particular precinct.
In
Now,
this
is
particular
that just an aberration, just a glitch or something?
No,
Is this-
they've observed that in several precincts. I think
Wow.
they've got 8 or 9 precincts just in Jefferson County where they saw that.
Okay, so Russ, it's a serious problem. What is the solution? We've talked about paper ballot backups at a minimum. What else should we be doing?
Well, first off, paper ballots, if you are marking them and that's all that's being read is your marks, that's fine. But we've already seen some reports of various companies that you type on an electronic screen and it produces the paper ballots along with the barcode. And the machine reads the barcode, and there's no way to tell if that barcode actually is saying the same thing that you just ticked on that ballot. That's a problem. So it needs to be originally marked ballots and not read from a barcode, but scanned from the ballot itself to really be.
We've got that's the easy technology. That's like grade school when we would circle in the dots and send in the tests.
Same thing. But that's kind of step one. But step two is to go through and be willing to take a hard look at where all these votes are going. Seidel is in Barcelona, Spain. What is it doing? Keeping all of our
Why
votes?
shouldn't we have an American company monitoring American elections?
Exactly.
Especially when the Swiss have realized that there's huge potential for election fraud.
Sure,
with that same company.
Because at the county level, the Oracle databases, as Jekyll told us, those Oracle databases can be broken into. They all load up into the cloud on AWS. We know those can be broken into. And we know that they go to Clarity and Seidel, and all of those can be broken into. So we have to really take a hard look at this election thing. And this means that our leaders are just going to have to face up to the fact they've been sharing the same tailor as the emperor's new clothes for a while.
Well, this is a serious issue. It's an economic issue, and it is an existential issue for our nation and our liberties. This is something we've addressed in episode 20 and 21, but we also need to look at the new episode that we just showed you. See how vulnerable our election systems are. And we produced a combined economic battle plan. You can download it from economicwarroom.com with specific things you can do to help protect our election systems. Remember, what we see as a marketplace, our enemies view as a battle space. This is Kevin Freeman from the Economic War Room.